দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ চ্যানেল 24 এর নিয়মিত আয়োজন মুখোমুখিতে প্রতি পর্বে আমাদের সাথে একজন বিশেষ অতিথি থাকে, সেই অতিথির সাথে আমরা কথা বলি। আজকে আমাদের সাথে আছে একজন খুবই বিশেষ অতিথি, বাংলাদেশের রাষ্ট্রের রাষ্ট্রদূত His Excellency Alexander Motorowski. Hello Excellency, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and thank you so much for giving us the time. It's I think first interview with any Russian Excellency, and that means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Excellency, so Bangladesh and Russia is one of the oldest friend and the proven friend. Since 1971 till now, there were many challenges we meet together, and maybe in next coming 50 years, there are more challenges to meet. So how do you evaluate the relationship?
Thank you very much. Yes, Bangladesh has a significant advance on the economic path and demonstrates impressive results in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Growth of GNP is going on, then there is a growth in GNI per capita, improved the living standards, rise in the life expectancy, as well as the decline in the infant mortality, hunger and poverty rates. I am delighted that the USSR and then Russia have contributed a lot in development of your country as an important foreign partner. With Bangladesh graduating from LDC Group, new opportunities for our cooperation will arise. Now your government is setting ambitious objectives by formulating a number of national development strategies, such as Vision 2041, Delta Plan 2100, Mujib Climate Partnership Plan, and subsequent five-year plans. So, of course, the cooperation in this field will be increased. Frankly speaking, now it is rather complicated to say what will be the areas of cooperation between our two countries in the nearest 50 years. But of course, it will be mostly in economics.
Right. So, any VVIP visit that we may expect in the coming days from Russia to Bangladesh?
Unfortunately, no, because you know the general situation, but there were some VIP visits from your side to Russia in 2010 and 2013. There were the meetings between our President Vladimir Putin and your Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. So I hope that in the near, and besides that, elections are coming in your country. I hope that after those elections and these events, global events, there were some possibilities for high-level visits.
Okay. And is there any proposal from your side for the high-level visit being offered to Foreign Ministry?
Not yet. The matter is that there was a last visit of your foreign minister to Russia, and he invited our foreign minister, Mr. Lavrov, to visit Dhaka. But unfortunately, to the preoccupation of our foreign minister, the visit was cancelled last November. We hope that sooner or later the visit will be here of our foreign minister.
I am hopeful too. Excellency, let's talk about the Ukraine war. Now, there is many question of this war, but I really want to hear from you, why, being Russian, you think these wars have justification?
Justification? It's very interesting question. I will quote the spokesman of the President of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Peskov. He said, a special military operation is more than justified, more than necessary, and should be completed by achieving the set goals. the responsibility for this tragedy lies entirely and fully with the current Kiev regime and Western countries who supported, who will give the support to it. If we will remember, in 2014 there was a coup d'etat, and a new regime came to the power in Kiev. And after that, they started to fight against their own people. At that time, autonomous Republic of Crimea held a referendum and decided to be independent and later to join the Russian Federation. Subsequently, people living in Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic also declared their independence from Ukraine. But nevertheless, during 2014 and 2015, some agreements, so-called Minsk agreements, were signed. Even they were recognized by UN Security Council. So guarantors of those agreements were Germany and France. So it was supposed that a plan was established, and it was supposed that that fulfilling each step that these regions, Donetsk and Lugansk, will return to Ukraine. But as we heard in 2022 from the presidents of Ukraine, they didn't want to fulfill these agreements. Okay. And the same was confirmed by the leaders of France and Germany. So their own plan was to buy some time, you see, to reinforce the forces of Ukraine and to build a strong army and then to invade into these two regions. Another reason is that in November-December 2021, the Russian side proposed to the United States and NATO countries to sign two agreements about security, then to secure each other's. The problem was that in 1991, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there was unwritten agreement that Western countries will not expand NATO, and they will not come to our borders. But nevertheless, they have violated these agreements. So it was rejected. Western countries started to prepare Ukraine to attack Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republic. At that time, it was we recognized them in February. Yes, 2022. We recognized them as independent states. We signed some agreements on joint security matters, and later on they decided to enter the Russian Federation. So we have the full right to defend these people. You should understand, many people here in Bangladesh, they do not know that during those 8 years, starting from 2014 till 2022, many Russian-speaking people were killed at Donetsk People's Republic, and the same it was in Lugansk People's Republics, because the shelling was continued for a long time. This is in short. I can continue to make so many examples, but I think that for your viewers, it will be very boring.
There are a lot of incidents we may not know which is published or unpublished, but what about the civilians? And what of the general people? How long they will suffer? And do you think that in near future this war will stop, or there is a possibility?
Thank you very much for this very interesting question. Nobody knows, frankly speaking, the reply to it. As I told previously, a lot of people died during those 8 years from 2014 till 2022. After the start of a special military operation, we call it not the war, we call it a special military operation, of course a lot of people were suffering. Some of them yes, you know, migrated to Europe. Some of them went to Russia, and nobody is mentioning that the population of Ukraine, many Ukrainians, they do live for Russia, and there are more than 3 million people, especially women, children, living there. Sufferings. Of course, the war, it's a suffering for civilians. Now, Ukraine forces are using people, as common people, as a shield. You see, it's one thing. The second thing, they are using all these houses, schools, or hospitals as they are enforcing them and using them as points for struggling against Russian forces, and they used to locate tanks, artillery systems, or some other equipment near these buildings, or even inside of these buildings. So that's why so many buildings are destroyed. The suffering. Now, even the latest events, a week ago, the dam and New Kakhovka was destroyed, and there was a flooding there. You see, it was a suffering for the people. So, and it was done by Ukraine forces. This is the answer to the question, how people are suffering. Everybody is trying, there is no food, especially food, no medicine. That's why when they are coming to Russia, they are getting everything, you see, and even a job is arranged for them. Children are going to school, and so on.
Right. Excellency, on the last question on this issue, so Russia is having a lot of sanctions because of this war from the Western countries. And how these sanctions are impacting your bilateral trade with all the countries, all the friendly countries, especially Bangladesh?
It's understandable that sanctions, illegal sanctions, which were introduced by the United States, the EU countries, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, and some other countries, they impact everybody. For Russia, we have to decide, especially sanctions were against gas, oil sector, and financial sector. But nevertheless, the Russian Federation decided all these questions. The matter is that now gas supply or oil supplies are directed to in the Pacific region, to South Asia, to Middle East countries, and to Asian countries mainly. In 2022, in May, the volume of our supply to Asian countries exceeded the volume of oil supplied to Europe. Now it is a common news that India bought Russian is buying Russian oil more than any other country. It is 47-fold higher. Then the oil is going to China. Gas is also going to China. As much as more than 20 countries of the world applied to requested the Russian Federation to supply all these oil products, gas to their countries. Last example, you can see to read that a few days ago, Pakistan received for the first time crude oil from Russia. This is the matter. How it impacts our relations with your country? Of course, there was a problem, first of all, logistic, and then the problem of payment. But nevertheless, businessmen and our two governments resolve these problems. This the matter, and
How they resolved it?
you see, how to say, if you will ask the businessmen, they will say that, yes, we are supplying some ready-made garments to Russia. The payment is made through some other channels. Nobody will tell you through which channel it is made or like that. But nevertheless, I can tell you some figures. In 2021, the volume of our trade reached almost $3 billion.
Okay.
You see, it was the highest number. Of course, in 2022, it reduced, but it, nevertheless, it was $2.35 billion. For 3 months of this current year, I mean January to March, the volume of the trade increased by 25% and reached $735 million.
Interesting.
You should understand that businessmen have found the way to pay and to receive the goods to Russia, and the payment for your businessmen. Of course, now they explore new routes for supply because transit through Europe is closed, but nevertheless they managed like that. I can tell you frankly that even in some areas we reached with Bangladesh some heights. In 2022, the overall supply of million wheat to your country, I mean on governmental and business level, it was 920,000 metric tons.
Okay.
It is 42% of your all import from foreign countries. You can see.
Right.
There are also new areas of our cooperation. Of course, just recently there was memorandum signed on supply of our fertilizers to your country, 180,000 metric tons of potassium. You see, and during those previous years, of course, Russia also was a main supplier of fertilizers to your country. We are ready to buy some agricultural products from your country, for example, potato, mango, all those products which are of good quality and from your country. So we are ready to continue on our cooperation in this field.
That's very interesting to know. Excellence, on this section, I have the last question before I take this break. Say, for example, Russia is selling oil to India and other countries, and India is supplying Russian oil to different countries. Now, can Bangladesh have directly oil from your country, as we are going through some crisis? You understand the energy crisis. Oil is one of the important element for
the matter is that it's up to your government and your businessmen to decide where they want to buy oil. We have given some proposal to buy oil on a government basis. We were told that it is impossible to proceed it here. If you want to buy some kind of oil products, you can do it. Why not? Directly, if through India, it's up to you to decide through whom you want to go. But nevertheless, I just mentioned one example, a recent example. Sri Lanka has bought some Russian oil previously, now Pakistan. Maybe in future even Bangladesh will do it. It's up to you.
And all by India, via India?
No,
right?
not it's yes, they bought it directly.
So there is a way?
Yes, there is a way. If you want to buy some oil from India, you should negotiate with Indian government or Indian businessman.
Right. We've been discussed about the war, the sanctions, the implications. Let's talk about the biggest Russian-Bangladesh project, which is widely known as and popular as Rupur power plant. So because of this sanction on different entities, personalities and organizations, Rupur or the oligarchs of Russia are suffering. So you mentioned that Rupur will be never stop, the production will go on. So how far we are from the dream to see it becoming true?
Thank you very much. Rupur is a unique project of among 8 VVER 1200 reactors that are currently being constructed by Russia in in foreign countries. Because in case of Bangladesh, it is a turnkey project. It is a new reactor, secure reactor, so-called 3+, so-called post-Fukushima. I could say that most works of the Rupur nuclear power is constructed, carried out by skilled Russian workers and engineers, which with approximately 95% of equipment is manufactured in Russia and delivered from Russia. Russia provides high education training to NPP design and operation 200 to Bangladeshi students. Many of local specialists have already undergone additional training and qualification upgrades in respective Russian education establishments. There is also a training center in Rupur nuclear power plant site, and a lot of Bangladesh they have completed or studying now there. Now we are undergoing through some challenges, but nevertheless there is an agreement that spent nuclear oil and nuclear fuel will be returned back to Russia and processed in Russia. Now the construction and work is going on defense systems and physical protection system. Jointly it is done by Russian firm and your army. I can say that project is advancing in full swing. Most part of general construction is nearly completed, and now Russia and Bangladesh teams are installing the technological equipment. Soon in October there will be a great event. We are planning to supply fresh nuclear fuel to Rupur. So it means to your country that it means that your country will be in the club of nuclear powers. So it seems it will be completed soon. Of course, there were some problems when the sanctions were introduced. We have to change logistic routes, to find the new ways of repayment of loans which were provided. But nevertheless, these obstacles are overcome.
Right. And what about the payment, which is not given due to sanctions? Did any way out came out?
The matter is, you know that some Russian banks, not all of them, were switched off from SWIFT system, and it was impossible for your government to repay the loans. But nevertheless, negotiations are going by between now central banks, Central Bank of Russia and Bangladesh Bank, and the Ministry of Finance to resolve this problem. Soon it will be resolved.
And what will be the module then? They will pay in ruble or you will pay in taka?
I don't know, and you should understand, if an agreement will be signed, then it will be declared. Additional agreements, additional protocol, which way it will be decided. But maybe it will be not takama, some other currencies, because you do not have rubles. How you will use them, you see. We do not have taka. Or if you will pay in taka, how we will use it. So maybe it will be in some other currency.
Excellency, one last question on Rupur. So when you will bring the uranium, that will also need some extra security.
Yes, of course. That's why.
So Can you tell me more details about how this will be managed?
No, the matter is that, as I told previously, it is managed by Russian firm and your army, Bangladesh army.
Jointly?
So, jointly, yes. And of course...
So your army will be present in Bangladesh?
No, there will be no army
Okay.
from Russian side. Your army will be responsible for physical protection. How it will be done, of course, it's secret. How many layers of this it will be, it's impossible
But
to
they
say.
will be trained in...
Yes, of course, they will be trained in Russia, and advices will be given. Some of them visited Russian working nuclear power plants, and then they can see how the security is working there.
That's fantastic. And do you think this Rupur project, which is joint production of Russia, Bangladesh, has become an issue for someone else to become jealous with because they don't have the nuclear project in Bangladesh? Maybe some big countries?
I don't know. We do not comment on this. Tell me who can construct any nuclear power plants. I will give some examples. Maybe it will be exaggerated or not, but nevertheless,
Sure.
France started to construct nuclear power plants in Finland. It's going for decades. American side, Westinghouse, if I'm not mistaken, they have built last nuclear power plants maybe 10 or 15 years ago. They do not have any possibility. This is the matter. That's why they should be jealous. You see, I don't know. And besides that, you should understand that the power, energy produced on Rupur power plant, it will be friendly, you see, and ecologically friendly, because there will be no emission. You see, and will continue for 60 years, and with possible extension for another 40 years. You see, fuel will be taken to Russia. There will be no need to supply coal. As I know now, we have some problems with coal supplies, or gas, or LNG, and so on and so on. So just it's friendly. Even EU, they recognize that nuclear power, it is energy, or how to say, it's friendly to ecology friendly energy. This is the matter. Why India is constructing nuclear power plants? Your big neighbor, I mean China also, they have a lot of nuclear power plants. Why not Bangladesh?
Right.
It will secure your energy.
Right, definitely.
Security.
Right. Excellency, let's talk about in a short manner the Bangladesh-Russia Defense Cooperation. So Bangladesh brought MiG-29. What else is there? Is Bangladesh buying new weapons from Russia, and what's your offer in that case?
The matter is that you mentioned only aircrafts MiG-29, but also Bangladesh bought previously Yak-130, then some carriers, soldiers carriers, BTR, and so on and so on. Some equipment was bought previously. The cooperation is continuing in such type of field, but it's premature usually to declare what is the offer before it is signed an agreement. That's why I will skip it. Our military cooperation to continue. There is an exchange of cooperation in the military field, exchange of delegations. Your delegations are coming to Russia, participate in Moscow Conference on International Security or International Military Technical Forum Army, like that. So I hope that it will continue. And I tell you frankly that I think that after this special military operation will be completed, successfully completed by the Russian forces, our cooperation will increase. Because everybody can see that Russian equipment is more modern and more effective than equipment supplied to Ukraine by the United States, European countries, and so on and so on. So much talk was about Patriot system. Yes, it was destroyed by our one Kinjal, that's all, and there is no system. 5 of launches were destroyed. These are the matter. So I advise your military men to look into this matter.
Right, fantastic. Excellency, Bangladesh is also buying observatory satellites from Russia. So what is the update about it?
Yeah, cooperations, this field continued. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a year ago. Yes, it was, let me tell you frankly, in February 2022, some kind of memorandum was signed between our company, Glove Cosmos, and your company. The negotiations do continue. They are settling some technical details, and I hope that sooner or later the contract will be signed. The matter is, you should understand that put into the operation this Earth observation system. It is a system, not just one satellite sent. It will be some more satellites sent to the orbit, and it will not
like
only
how many? 2, 3, 4, 5?
not less than 3.
Interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know.
It not only improve the national communication network, but also contribute to other fields of the economy of Bangladesh. For instance, the satellite constellation will be instrumental in the prevention of natural disasters. It's very important for your country through monitoring of climate changes and extreme weather conditions. Footage of water area and coastal zones will be given an opportunity to identify the ways to discover maritime resources in compliance with the plans of the Bangladesh government to develop the blue economy. Crops management and vegetation monitoring by the satellites are promising in terms of agriculture. So there are so many areas. It will be not only communication, you will use internet, but it will be a system which will assist your country in the economy development.
Also, it will help to the surveillance issue?
Of course. So, what kind of surveillance?
Any kind of surveillance that can be helpful to government or helpful to
No, I just mentioned the areas of in which will be helpful. Frankly speaking, surveillance, I don't understand what do you mean. It will be for the people, you see.
I guess.
But I'm not sure. There are some other systems, not these satellite systems.
Right. Excellency, we'll end the show, but before that, I have two more important questions to ask you. One is, if you kindly, in short, tell me why in the Security Council Russia doesn't stand for Bangladesh in terms helping the Rohingyas. Why is that?
No, first of all, you are mistaken, but just recently, last year, I don't know, when there was a voting on Myanmar, Russia as well as China abstained, and the resolution was submitted, and even your foreign minister thanked our minister for such type of cooperation. Regarding Myanmar issue, I do understand that it is very peculiar and a question for your Bangladeshi people, for the government. Our position is that optimal way forward is through promotion of dialogue between Dhaka and Naypyidaw, and coordinating efforts aimed at consistent implementation of the existing bilateral agreements on the return of displaced persons, in particular reached with the joint working group on repatriation. You know that there is also joint working group on repatriation between China, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Then, of course, there were some proposals put by ASEAN countries. We also support those proposals. But also we are convinced that interferes in the negotiation between Bangladesh and Myanmar, as well as external pressure on any of the two states, especially when certain extra-regional players act solely out of the interest of containing the opponents or punishing those who carry out an independent foreign policy, may exacerbate the situation and hinder the search for efficient options of a long-term settlement. In this way, we do not support such type of interference. Frankly speaking, if you will open today any newspaper, yesterday newspaper, you can see there is a discussion what should be done, how it can be done, so many prescriptions to your government, what should be done, and so on. I would like to mention that Russian Federation is ready to provide humanitarian assistance. And by the way, we have one Ahmad Kadir Chechen Fund. They are working here, and during the last 6 months, they have constructed at camps of refugees, some, I don't remember how many, around 6 mosques. They constructed this, supplied some food and some necessary items. So we are trying to contribute our best in resolving this problem. But it's impossible, it's not correct to say that we are opposing any repatriation of Rohingyas to Myanmar, to Burma, like that. We are not introducing any Burma Acts, as it was done by certain powers, you see, and so on and so on. And we think that all these problems should be resolved in a peaceful manner.
Right. Excellency, we are about to end the show. Thank you so much. But before that ending, I want to ask you one question, that maybe after the coming election, probably any VVIP visit can happen from our side or from your side.
Why not?
So that's a very fantastic news. But how do you see the election situation in Bangladesh? As
I told previously, replying to such type of questions, we do not comment on such type of matters, first of all. And we do not interfere in this election process in any country. We do not give any advices on this, but you can see even yesterday there were elections held in the 2 municipal cities, and it seems that they were almost peaceful. There was a good turnover, more than 40%, and so on and so on. I'm sure that that next parliamentarian elections they will be free, participatory. I hope so. Some parties can boycott, but nevertheless you have a lot of other parties. They can participate like that. Let us see who will win. Only people will decide who will be in future government. This is the matter. That's why my request or appeal is to all the country, to all the parties. Please do participate in those elections.
Right. Thank you so much. That means a lot, because it's not only the election, it's about the cooperation with other countries, including Russia, and the mega projects are going on. So hopefully, I want to be hopeful like you. Thank you so much for allowing us coming here, and it means a lot. I really enjoy talking with you. Really. Thank you so much, Excellency. দর্শক, আমিও এক্সেলেন্সির মতো আশাবাদী হতে চাই যে আগামী নির্বাচন সুষ্ঠু হবে, অবাধ হবে, এবং সেখানে সবার অংশগ্রহণ থাকবে এবং সাধারণ মানুষের মত প্রতিফলিত হবে। দেখা হবে মুখোমুখির অন্য কোনো পর্বে অন্য কোনো অতিথির সাথে। তারা কিন্তু ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন, নিরাপদে থাকুন।